相見是緣分，同心揮刀。
Welcome to Delirium Comics, the middle row Kung Fu Theater. In a second, we're going to delve into our next martial arts film, Last Hurrah of Chivalry. But first, I want to really get into something that I really haven't thought about or really talked about. I know I haven't done this in a while. As a pretty average YouTuber, I'm just learning the basic aspects of how to get all this information out of my head and onto the screen, or record it for that matter. So I really respect the full-time YouTubers out there who do this for a living. It's hard work, a struggle to get this stuff out there on a regular schedule. I really do love the editing aspect, the film critique, and just watching films. I, of course, watch more than just martial arts films. I really do respect all the movie critics out there. And I was just watching one a second ago. And on a basic level, I'd love to be just like them. I don't know if I have the time. I wish I could make it a full-time job. All I can say is I just envy them. They take their love of film and express it on their YouTube channels, and I really love it. I love all those guys who are actually out there doing it on YouTube. It takes a special kind of someone to get this stuff out there on a regular basis. You know, I wish I could do it. I love playing games and want to do reviews of those. I watch all types of movies and want to get that out there, at least my opinion, my critique of the films. I just love it. I love technology. I got my hands on a lot, and I want to do some reviews of those as well. It's just all in my head and really hard to get out there. You know, I want a video. I want to do reviews of cameras, and I see a lot of the camera reviewers out there just making wonderful videos on YouTube. And it's something that I really look up to, and I take them as an example, you know, to try to achieve. Maybe I'll get a backdrop one day, a green screen, and be able to talk about these things. I also want to get into the political arena. That would be something I would love to do, instead of just, you know, typing it on Facebook and everything. But I really wish I could get it out there and express these ideas that I have. But enough of that babbling. Let's get into one of my favorite martial arts films of the 70s. Last Hurrah of Chivalry is an early martial arts film from 1978. As a kid, I used to watch this film on the local TV stations in Washington, D.C., and was enamored with it. It just fueled the childish antics of going out into the backyard and hitting my friends with sticks in a martial arts pantomime. Bam here, bam there, getting in trouble later. For some reason, as a child, I always loved the intro to the film. Couldn't say why. The music was weird. The lyrics were weird. But there was this anime-type scrolling that seemed to mesmerize. It was all in Chinese writing. They had scrolls going across the screen. You had anime-type figures moving to and fro, little cuts from the film. You could see close-ups of each of the characters' faces in an anime-drawn style. It was pretty nice for a kid my age to be seeing that kind of thing and just really getting into it. Of course, I didn't really understand what the lyrics said. They just put on this feel of like, hey, let's go out and fight and beat up some other kids in the neighborhood. The film was directed by John Woo, who's better known for his Hong Kong crime thrillers, The Killer, love The Killer, Hard Boiled, even love that, and his Hollywood hits such as Face Off. Maybe. It's a costume swordplay film from Golden Harvest, and it looks very different from their similar films that they produce, being done by the Shaw Brothers. I became a fan of John Woo the same way most people my age did in the 80s. And through his Hong Kong gun fu type style movies with Chow Yun-fat and later over-the-top Hollywood action films, you know, I got into those. So I knew very little about his early filming forays into the wushu swordplay martial arts genre until now. Now, we all want to kind of see fighting. And it's the plot to this film that really kind of gets to you. The plot's not so simple, but it's typical of many martial arts films. Cao is the scholarly son of a famous warrior who just wants to get married. So he buys a girlfriend and invites all his friends over to celebrate. Hey, it's just easy back then. You go out to the store and you buy a girl and you marry her. The party, of course, is crashed by Pai, a bitter rival of Cao's family because some sort of real estate deal gone bad. Hey, you stole my villa, or something like that. And the would-be groom is disgraced in his own home and barely survives the amazing battle in the beginning. It's choreographed, slow, methodical. You can see it moving to and fro. It's a good fight scene, sword play, amazing. Now, in the end, a pair of loyal servants help him get out of hell and out of Dodge, and the revenge motive is set in stone. The plot itself gets convoluted and confusing with multiple twists and deceptions. The two assassins and the master swordman decide to help out this poor merchant and seek revenge for the unforgivable slight, and of course, the death of his family. Why is it always revenge? Can't they call the local police, the constabulary? Hell, they get their butts kicked, they hide away, and they either train or whine, and then they look for somebody to kill their enemies for them, or they go out and try to kill themselves. That's the usual plot, and that's what's happening in this film. There are moments of seriousness mixed with unintentional moments of hilarity. For instance, the wedding crashers, or the attackers, throw a pig's head on the floor. Now, I don't know why they throw a pig's head on the floor, but they throw a pig's head on the floor, and somehow that's insulting. They even carry the pig's head in a box, and they go, ha, 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 here you go. And I'm like, okay, is that supposed to be insulting? I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up. And with that particular scene, it has a score, a music score that goes with it. Da, 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 da. And you're like, okay, that's impressive, I suppose. It just gives you that odd feeling. Or, I don't want to spoil it for you, but the sleeping fighter during the rest of the film. You got to check that scene out. Great stuff. It's even kind of funny. You'd probably like it. But now on to the not so funny scenes. The death scenes. Now, we all know about death scenes in martial arts films. This one is not particularly different, but the death scenes are often overdramatic, the acting overdone, and the victim's usually given a full minute of dialogue to spare his current death to the hero. So more revenge plots are intertwined, so they have to help plot defend their friend because he died, you know, that kind of stuff. And we get a lot of those. Nothing to worry about. But in the end, the movie is all about friendship. The budding friendship between the fighters Cheng Sai and the green suit fighter Lao, and the path to their impending battle with the villain Pai Kang, and their ultimate betrayal of their mutual friend who manipulated them into the battle in the first place. Please excuse the mispronunciations. I even mispronunciated the mispronunciation. But anyway, let's get into the fight scenes. Not that it isn't a wonderful story. We had betrayal, love, beautiful friendships with some actual tear-jerking moments, if you can call them that, or overacting. It's good during the first half of the film. The story makes sense. The fight scenes are subdued with some semblance of reality, as much as reality we can get with a film of this era. But the story in the later part, the second act, gets confusing, and the fight scenes become a mess of flying villains, drunken sword masters, and over-the-top villainy in general. But the good news is the second act of the film is all about fighting and killing. But the good news, the second act of this film is all about the fighting and the killing, which I know you particularly enjoy. Primarily, the swordplay on display and the hand-to-hand combat melds with the action. The action choreographer, Hark, I can't pronounce his name again, of course, he even has a small part in the movie, plays it like a dance. There's some hard moments. Some of the sword play is a little over the top with the sound effects, but if you're used to 70s martial arts films, you're used to that. The set pieces are impressive. They find ways to vary the particular swordplay action. The action comes off as pretty exciting with the backgrounds. The two main characters, their own abilities help, and watching them take time in their intricate choreography is something that's worth a watch. The photography and close sweeps of the action seem to set this film apart from other martial arts films. Though I watched it in its original dubbed VHS format, it was still pretty impressive with the lighting and the camera work. They have a Blu-ray and DVD editions out. You can check that out on Amazon. Editing here is a display of cinematic gloss comparable to the Japanese samurai films of the time. The transitions seem kind of awkward at times, and they left you feeling like you were missing something. A jump to the fight scene, then to the whorehouse, then to the fight scene, and you're like, what's going on? There's a scene in the middle of the film where a fight scene lasts about 5 minutes long. It's one of the most amazingly choreographed fight scenes ever, and I suggest you take time to watch that. It's probably even longer than the amazing fight scene in They Live. Now, the amazing music score was quite original for its time. The theme was used in various parts of the film to highlight some action in the scenes with some success. Sound effects were typical, as I said before, with the overtop sword swipes and clanging all over the place to emphasize the actual fight. The film's soundtrack is varied as each of the sword swings. One moment funk, and the next moment a piano solo. It was kind of odd for the late 70s with the soaring strings and almost reminiscent of many high-budget films, if you can say that for martial arts film of that time. There isn't much in the way of consistency between the tracks. Regardless, each piece fits its scene, and it's charming in its mix somewhat. Overall, I really loved the film. I loved it as a kid. Still love it today with its overtop action and its just weird acting. It was a serious man's martial arts film of the time, and it's full of Wu's trademark style, early trademark style. Amazing fight scenes, action, packed battle sequences, blood, and violence. Just give it a chance and you won't be disappointed. Last Hurrah for Chivalry managed to deliver all the promises of a 1970s martial arts film. Fun, fast-paced, with little slow moments, a little over the top, but highly recommended for Kung Fu fans everywhere. If you want to see John Woo's early work, this is the place to go. And of course, this film hits the mark, not so much with acting, but with the swordplay. I thank you guys for watching. And if you like this, please subscribe and do all those funky things. Check you later.